911, what's the address of your emergency case then? Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
We heard him looked in, the garage door was up, and I thought the gentleman was backing out, and I went back to my house, but he never backed out, and I came back over, and his driver's side window is shattered, and he's battered and can't answer. He's inside. I don't know if somebody tried to shoot him or if he shot himself or what. I don't know. He didn't send an ambulance in a hurry. An EMT. He's still alive. He's moving.
Okay, what's going on with him?
I don't know. The driver's side window is all bashed in, and he's got blood all over his head. He's not responding to me. I think you need to hurry.
Yeah, I'm going to get him on the way to you. I just want to ask you a few questions, okay?
Go ahead, but send them as you're asking.
Yes, sir. They're already on the way, okay? Are you with him now?
I'm standing right outside the garage door.
Can you tell me how old he is?
I don't know. He looks like maybe 35 or 40.
Hang on 1 second for me, okay?
Okay.
All right, sir. I apologize about that. What was how old is the patient again? I'm sorry.
I can't tell. He looks maybe 35 or 40. I don't know.
Okay. And is he awake?
He's just moving his head around, but he's not responding. I've called his name, asked what's going on, or not call his name, but ask him what's happening. He's not responding to that, but his head's kind of rolling around.
Okay. Is he conscious?
Well, I can't tell.
Okay. Is he breathing?
I can't tell that. I'm assuming he's breathing if he's moving his head around.
Did you ever hear him talk or anything?
No.
Okay. You said he's sitting in the car, right?
Correct, in the driver's seat.
Okay. Where exactly is he? In the driver's seat? You know?
In the driver's seat.
Is he in the garage or?
In the garage.
Okay. Can you direct the emergency crews to him, sir?
Sure.
Okay. All right, I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Just stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
Okay.
If it's safe to do so, see if he is conscious and breathing or moving at all, okay?
It's not safe for me to do. I don't want to put my hand in here.
Okay. Well, help's on the way.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be standing by. And I've heard about break-ins in the area, and so I decided to walk over and take a look. And the garage door was up and asked him what was happening. And then I saw the window was shattered, and he's got blood. I'm going to be over here waiting for the EMT, honey. Okay, go ahead, but just tell the kids to hold on inside. They're okay. So tell them I'm out here.
All right, just stay on the line with me for now, okay, sir?
Okay, I
got him on the way to you.
Very good. I'm standing at the street, so if I see him coming down the street, I can direct him right in.
So he won't respond to you at all?
Not to me.
Holler at him or anything?
Yeah, he didn't respond, but his head kind of moving around.
Okay.
But I've walked away from the car right now. I'm standing at the street, so.
And he's?
No.
Okay.
He's inside. The window's shattered. The garage door was up.
Okay.
Where is the vehicle dispatched from?
I'm not sure. Give me a second. I'll try to see where they are, okay? Is he still moving around?
I don't know. I'm standing at the street now. I'm trying to wait for your vehicle. You say you were checking on where it was?
Yes, sir.
Or where it's coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it coming from?
I'm checking.
Okay.
Got several people on the way. Looks like one person's coming from McClay Road.
Okay, well, it may take them a while to get here then. We're close to the hospital, so.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying his head is bloody now?
Yeah, it's been bloody. I mean, it's the window shattered. I don't know if he's tried to shoot himself. I don't know what the situation is.
And it's the driver's side window, correct?
That's correct. He's still moving around, so he's alive.
Okay. Looks like I should have an officer coming up the roadway.
Okay, well, we need EMT.
Well, the officer's going to be there first. They're not going to come until we figure out what's going on, but they're on the way as well, okay?
He better be if this guy's got a shot living.
Yes, sir. They're on the way as well, okay?
Yeah. It looks like could be an officer now.
Is he there?
Yeah, he's just coming up right now.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let you go, sir, okay?
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Right.
Well, 10 long years, folks. 10 years today. Can you imagine? Imagine all the things that have happened to you over the last 10 years and all the things that haven't happened to Dan Markel. Very, very sad. Very, very sad that he should be robbed. And, it would be sad for anybody to be murdered. But it's more sad when it's for some pointless, stupid, nonsensical action to move to fucking Miami from Tallahassee. Are you for real? Maybe if you were stuck in Kandahar, it's the same goddamn state. I've really been feeling some anger today, guys. Thinking about Dan Markel, thinking about the Adelsons, thinking about Charlie and Katie and Sigfredo and Louise. Sadness, anger, it's ridiculous. What are we doing tonight, folks? Well, I guess we're just going to have a look through some old material, right? But first, I wanted to share a man of great honor speaking about his dead son, Phil Markel, giving a victim impact statement, rereading what he did in open court. Because the man just has such look at him. Look at the picture of him.
Hello, everyone.
I just love I'd love to draw him. And I'm not an artist that draws people or anything, but I just think he almost looks like a cartoon. He almost looks like he's made of paper or something. It's just what a guy. Very clean, very old, and very real, right? The Adelsons just aren't real, guys. But this guy is absolutely real. What does he have to say about his dead son?
I'm reading this victim impact statement as I did at the end of Charlie's trial. There were some technical problems with the original video portion of the recording, and the audio was not very clear. So I'm doing this so that one day my two grandchildren, Ben and Lincoln, can watch and listen to this victim impact statement on behalf of our Markel family. Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Phil Markel. I'm Dan Markel's father. Dan, my only son, was born on October 9th, 1972 in Montreal, Quebec. During that time in Quebec, husbands were not allowed to actually be in the delivery room during the child's birth. However, since the obstetrician was a close friend of ours, I was allowed to experience the most amazing moments, the birth of my son. I will never forget the emergence of his head and then the shoulders of an NFL fullback, a boy of 10 pounds. There I was holding in my arms this gift of life, my bundle of sheer joy. From the time he was a child, my son had tremendous energy, intelligence, and great warmth. Dan had a vibrant, fun-loving personality, and he lived life to the fullest. Dan loved to socialize, dance, cook, entertain, and play sports, and he dedicated himself wholeheartedly to everything that he did. He would always look to do his utmost to improve and achieve better results in every activity he participated in. The desire of improvement and commitment to excellence was a defining characteristic of.
I mean, he's holding that paperwork and you can see his hand shaking, right? And he's clearly old. He's 80 plus, right? But this guy's not going no place, not until justice is whole and delivered by Georgia Kappelman, who knows exactly what she's doing. It may have taken 10 years, but that's just where it needs to be, right? Wendy has been walking around shopping at Whole Foods. What kind of things do you think she buys? Imported Kalamata olives. Well, Kalamata olives are the best olives. But I would love to be with Wendy Adelson as she's walking around Whole Foods, just to watch what she buys, because I think every item she picks up off the shelf would make me want to smash her in the face with a jar of Kalamata imported olives.
Of his short life. I fondly remember Dan taking skiing, I fondly remember Danny taking Danny skiing up the hills in the Laurentian Mountains where we lived when he was 2 years old. He rode up the mountain between my legs, holding on to the T-bar, and then coming down the hill, yelling with great joy, "Faster, Daddy, faster!" Then, as he grew a little older and he played hockey at the local...
I was going to play the version of this victim impact statement that was read out in court in front. Well, not in front. It was played, the audio was playing, but the camera was on Charlie Adelson. But I found this version of the video, and I thought it might be nicer for us to give some time to the man made of paper, Phil Markel, rather than look at the friggin' ugly, fat face of a murderer, Charlie Adelson, standing in his prison robes. But at that point, as Phil Markel is describing what it was like to take his infant son skiing and these adventures sliding down the, whatever it was, faster, Daddy, faster, I believe that there's a nuance there that was specifically made to show Charlie something that he could reflect on himself as some time with his son, his young son, so that he would maybe begin to realize what he had taken from this man. Yeah? Is it sinking in yet, Charlie, as you sit whining on your jail calls? No evidence! No evidence! It was a 2-hour Dateline special with autopsy photos. Yeah, well, you know why those autopsy photos exist, Charlie? Because of you, my friend. Because of you and your sick family.
Parks. To improve his skating skills, he requested to take skating lessons with a local coach from Russia who had this reputation of being a very tough coach. Dan persevered, and after every hockey lesson, he came off the ice with a red face and totally out of breath because he always gave it his all. At about the age of 13, Dan developed the idea that he was going to Harvard University. He discovered that the acceptance requirements for Harvard were not only good grades, but also work for the community and do charitable work. To achieve these goals, he revived his high school newspaper, became the newspaper's editor and business manager. He performed charitable deeds. He volunteered in the community. And after years of hard work and determination, Danny was accepted to Harvard. Dan later graduated from Harvard, magna cum laude. He went on to study at Hebrew University in Jerusalem for 1 year.
Little bit of interesting trivia about the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, folks. It was founded by Albert Einstein in the year, get this, in July 1918, which of course, if you omit the century from the 4-digit year date and just have the 2-digit year date, as is often written, it would be July 18. Huh. One of those little useless, interesting coincidences that happen, huh?
And then he earned a Master's of Philosophy and Political Theory from Emmanuel College at the University of Cambridge in England.
So Harvard, Hebrew University in Jerusalem, which is the top university in Israel, Harvard, Hebrew University, and Cambridge. Whoa. Okay, man. Guy's got some education on him, huh?
He returned afterwards to Harvard Law School to earn his law degree and went on to become an extremely successful lawyer and an influential legal scholar. Dan served as a law clerk for a federal judge. He worked as an associate at a prestigious law firm in Washington, D.C., and then he secured a prestigious teaching position at FSU College of Law. In just a few short years, Dan became full tenured law professor before the age of 41. He co-authored a book and published many articles in highly regarded law reviews, journals, and newspapers like the New York Times. Dan's work was influential when he gave lectures and presented at universities all around the world. Although Dan was fond of his Canadian roots, he was very dedicated to the FSU Law School and the Tallahassee community. He was recognized as a scholar who contributed and made a difference in this world. While Dan's career was important to him, family meant everything to Danny. His marriage produced 2 boys, Benjamin and Lincoln, who were his absolute world, the loves of his life. Dan arranged his entire life around these 2 boys. He would arrange his teaching schedule, travel plans, exercise, activities all around his desire to spend as much time as possible with the 2 boys. He would meet them for breakfast at their preschool. He would sit in the middle of a circle with Benjamin and Lincoln and all their classmates and tell them stories, read, sing songs, all this as they ate breakfast. Benjamin and Lincoln were his pride and joy and meant everything to him. Danny made sure that he and the boys came to Montreal and Toronto to attend every family function and affair and visit with all the extended Markel family, including grandparents, uncles, aunts, and many numerous cousins. Despite the distance, Dan felt that the boys had to know and be a part of this family. Dan also made sure that he and the boys participated in the Tallahassee community and were involved with the local synagogue and neighborhood. Danny left home at the young age of 17 to go to Harvard, but he always came home for summer vacation, for holidays, and all family functions. Danny and I, despite the fact that we lived quite far apart, regularly communicated by text, email, and phone calls. And despite the physical distance, as time moved on, we grew ever more closer. At Dan's suggestion, we would talk and have a meal together. At the appointed day and time, we each would prepare our meals, set our tables, and with a tablet in the middle, Over Skype, we would sit together and enjoy each other's company for a couple of hours despite the actual distance. Dan's life was abruptly cut short, and he was forever taken from me, from his boys, and the rest of our family, and all his many friends and colleagues. My life has been in a total disarray since Danny's murder. Many nights I wake up in the middle of the night in a terrible sweat with thoughts of Dan's murder and all that has happened. There is not a single day in my life since Danny's death that in one way or another he does not enter my thoughts, and I miss him with all my heart. I'm constantly reminded of Dan's murder and his absence. When I meet new people, the topic of discussion always comes up, and they ask whether I have children. How do I respond? It's difficult to put into words the heinous acts that Dan took away from us and the unthinkable pain that I must live with every single day. Losing a son or a daughter is something I wish nobody should have to experience. It is not in the order of nature. Danny is never coming back. We continue to hope and pray for justice, the return to normalcy of seeing and playing a vital role in the lives of our two grandsons, Benjamin and Lincoln. It's been a number of years since I last wrote a victim impact statement, sharing how Danny's death has affected me. Despite our persistent efforts, we still do not have a real relationship with Danny's sons, Ben and Lincoln.
Huge victims in this story. You know, Dan lost his life, but, you know, he's dead. So his suffering, although it went on for 14 hours, we can hope it's now over and that he's in a better place or just doesn't exist anymore, depending on how you believe. But these folks, Ruth, Phil, Shelley, and so many others, have continued to suffer for 10 fucking years, guys. And then she takes away the boys. Are you kidding? Man, you know, I really don't think a life sentence is going to cut it with Wendy. She needs beating with a phone book, you know. Severe physical pain and trauma, prolonged. You know, I think we need to get medieval on Wendy, personally. You know, Charlie, yeah, throw away the key. Donna, throw away the key. But they're foot soldiers in this story, really. Charlie was never the maestro. Wendy's the maestro. She's the real knife twister. You know, Donna's a crazy bitch. Charlie's an arrogant, unfeeling, selfish, privileged fuckhead. But Wendy is a different level. Different level. You know. I can't wait to see what her defense is. I keep saying it, you know. I haven't really made any solid predictions yet, but she has got so many more steps to this worked out as best she can, right? She works out all permutations, looks at all possibilities. You know, how she does this without writing anything down is beyond me. And wouldn't it be fantastic if we found her notes to this story? Wouldn't that be great? Just imagine that, the book of premeditation, as Joel Guy Jr. would call it. What a gift that would be.
Visits are very limited and carefully controlled. For 6 years, we were denied any and all visits with the boys or any communication whatsoever. In the last 2 years, I've permitted 2 60 to 90-minute supervised visits with them. This limited contact is incredibly painful, and I feel like we have been cut out of their lives.
Yeah, the most painful part about that limited contact with to me, if it were me in his shoes, would be having to look at Wendy's smiling Jack Nicholson Joker teeth, fake smiling through this bullshit visit. You know, I really did. I really don't think I would be able to have any restraint if I were Phil Markel. I would snap her neck on sight in front of the boys. Fuck it. Send me to jail for life. Don't care. I snapped her neck. That's what I would do.
Not only have I lost my son, but I have effectively lost 2 of my grandkids as well. Even their family names have been changed from Markel to Adelson. While we worked hard to help introduce a new bill in the state of Florida, known as the Markel Act, this gives grandparents important rights. But unfortunately, our relationship with Ben and Lincoln...
You know, how old is... Which one's the oldest? Ben. How... You know, he's what, 16, coming on 17 now? He must see this video, right? How could they keep them sheltered so dramatically from not seeing this publicly available video? I'm sitting here in Portugal watching this video. I mean, imagine if this were my grandfather, you know, speaking something unmistakably genuine. What are they going to say? Oh, he was persuaded by the media. You know, Charlie would never do that. Or Donna. Now, let's go and buy you a new Hugo Boss. Yes, we're getting you a new Hugo Boss if you agree to not think about this video, Lincoln. Okay? Brand new Hugo Boss.
Has not been materially improved. As this bill was coming to fruition, there was a lot...
No, I really think it's quite possible, probable, that one day, probably maybe not that far in the future, if it's going to happen at all, that Ben or Lincoln will arrive in this community of people that know what the hell is going on, like us. They will arrive with a message, public message, sharing their experience, sharing their memories of their entire childhood. They probably barely just barely experiences. The oldest was just about to turn 5. Can I remember anything from when I was 5? Not much. 6, I have some memories. I don't know what I was doing at 5 years old. Not a lot. Lego, lots of Lego. But they will remember other things, right? They will remember comments that were being made that perhaps didn't make much sense at the time, but given the exposure that's coming out with their direct family members and quite probably their mother, their own mother, things are going to start to fall into place for them. And when they start dipping their toe into the enormous resource of online material and discovery that's available to them anywhere on the internet, it's going to come together in their minds. If it were me, I'd come forward to the community with a message, to share the experience. It's going to be quite interesting. You know, it almost feels like the case that never ends. You know, every time there's a conclusion to a trial, another trial is on the horizon. It's been that way since 2016. We were waiting for Katie and Sigfredo to have their trial. They had it. Then we were waiting for Katie's trial. Then as Katie's trial began, Charlie was arrested. We were waiting for that. And a week after, or 10 days after, whatever it was, 2 weeks after Charlie's verdict, Donna was arrested. And we're now waiting for that. I don't believe that Wendy will be arrested before Donna's trial. But I don't see any reason to delay her arrest after Donna is convicted. You know, I suppose there is a question whether or not she's able to flee, you know, disappear. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? If she disappears, flees, there'll be a manhunt. There'll be a manhunt. And she'll be apprehended in Patagonia or something, you know. And then we'll be waiting. I think we're going to be waiting quite a while post-arrest. I don't think she's going to opt for a speedy trial. Why would she? Maybe she would. But even after Wendy's arrested, charged, verdict, guilty, sentenced, put away, you know, I think they're probably not going to bother with Harvey. Just go and let him die alone in a Florida high-rise. But after that, it's still not done because Ben and Lincoln live on, right? And what are they going to do? They're going to come to us one day with news, right? Probably.
A lot of negative publicity in the press and media about Dan's ex-wife, Wendy. In my opinion, Wendy was focused on improving her public image and as a result extended an invitation to Benjamin's bar mitzvah. Ruth and I were invited to attend only the ceremonial part of this important stage of a Jewish boy's life, and we were not invited to participate in any reception typical of this type of celebration. But this invitation opened the door to one of the last limited visits described above. In order not to overwhelm Ben and Lincoln on this important day, we asked to arrange a meeting for the bar mitzvah, before the bar mitzvah, in order to make things easier on the boys, who we haven't been allowed to visit in years. We were able to arrange a brief 90-minute supervised visit with Ben and Lincoln a few weeks before the bar mitzvah. However, immediately after our brief visit, Charlie was arrested, and Wendy rescinded our invitation to this bar mitzvah. At the time, she said that they were going to either postpone or completely cancel the bar mitzvah, but neither of these things happened. Instead, my understanding is the Adelsons went on to have the bar mitzvah ceremony and the party, all without the Markel family's presence or participation. Missing out on this important moment in Ben's life was incredibly painful. After so many years without Danny, we had hoped to make progress in forging a consistent relationship with his sons, but this still has many challenges. This is the year that Lincoln turned 13, the age of bar mitzvah. As yet, we have not been informed if and when he will have a bar mitzvah, nor if we will be invited to participate in this very important time of Lincoln's life. I have very little hope that we will be allowed to participate. This important cycle event. Danny's murder brought his life abruptly to an end for no sensible reason and has affected a countless number of people. The legal community is deprived of Dan's wisdom and ideas, which made the world a better place. Dan's students.
And Wendy gets off 100%. This is not my opinion. I know this to be 100% true, okay? She gets off on causing this turmoil, this emotional, rescinding the invitation. It's fuel to her. It empowers her. She looks at heartbroken Phil Markel not being able to attend the important cycle of life ceremony bar mitzvah of the boys, and she sees that she caused that. She needs sorting out, man. She really needs sorting out. Someone needs to get her.
Are deprived of experience of having Dan as a brilliant professor and caring mentor, showing them a path to their future. Dan's colleagues can no longer benefit from his friendship, his insights, his scholarly discussions, and debates. Ruth and I have been deprived of our son, who was taken away from us so suddenly and totally against life's schedule. Ben and Lincoln must go through life without their father, who loved them with all his being. The boys have been deprived of their father's entire family. After Dan's murder, we have no idea of what these two boys know or have been told about Danny's death. I truly believe they've been brainwashed in all these years from the ages of 3 and 4 years of age to the present day. I also have no idea what the boys know of us, the Markel family, any history, and especially how much we all love them and how we wish they were an active part of our family.
I'd love to know about the Markel history. Maybe we'll do a special episode looking at the history of the Markels.
Both Ruth and I are approaching 80 years of age. At this moment, we are healthy.
Hang on, Phil. Justice is coming, man. It's just around the corner. You got to see it done. Georgia's getting it done, okay? Leave it with Georgia. She knows what she's doing. You're going to see justice. And hopefully you can be reunified in peace with your grandsons and know that they know what went down. I really wish that for you, Phil.
But one does not know what tomorrow brings. The wheels of justice turn very, very slowly. But so far, at least, they are still turning.
I know, Sue Lutz. Isn't that weird, huh? Anyone who missed it, guys, the Hebrew University in Jerusalem was founded in July 1918. So if you write the date without the century, as you often do, right, it's July 18. How about that? Isn't that crazy? And who founded the university? Albert Einstein. I want to go to a school founded by the most brilliant mind there ever was.
Turning. We are very, very grateful to the Tallahassee law enforcement, to the state attorney and all their staff, to all our relatives and friends, including the hundreds of Danny's friends and colleagues.
Yeah, I'm grateful to she's a bear in that courtroom. Nobody messes with Georgia.
Around the world for their constant support over these long 10 years. To all the podcasters who work so hard to keep alive this unbelievable story.
All the podcasters, including True Crime Metrics, Phil? No problem, Phil. We do it for you, man.
We are still waiting for Benjamin and Lincoln to have a more normal relationship with the Markel family as we wait in pain and true anguish. The Adelson family, in particularly Charlie Adelson, has been a major cause of our heartbreak and the murder of our son, Danny, and the loss of our 2 grandsons. I have suffered tremendously, and we as a family continue to suffer. It is satisfying to see justice being done, and it would be appropriate to ask the maximum sentence for the perpetrators of Danny's murder. Thank you. Today is a good day.
Well, I just don't think that victim impact statement could have been any better. It was fantastic. What a piece of writing and delivery. Well done, Phil. And thanks for bringing it to us. And hello to all you crazy kids in the chat. Sorry if I'm a little tense today. It's just, it's amazing where this case takes you. Your emotions, it can be rough, right? So next, I thought we might look at, where is it? I had it all queued up. Give me a second, guys. Oh, by the way, I was looking for an appropriate organization or somewhere. I thought any donations that come in tonight, guys, on the channel, not that it will be much, but just as a gesture, I thought we'd collect all the donations from our stream here tonight, all the super chats, all the super likes, all the super stickers, and donate it to some group that is working for #Justice for Dan Markel. So I was looking around. I thought there'd be a GoFundMe, something like that. I couldn't really find anything, but then I reached out on Reddit and somebody suggested Bell28 said, donate to the Justice for Dan Markel Foundation. It's run by a few lawyers in Tallahassee. Has anybody ever heard of that? Is that what this is? Is this where we should donate whatever comes in on tonight's show, guys? Because I would really like it to help the cause in some way, in some small way, even if it's just 20 euros or something. But whatever comes in tonight, guys, will be donated to some organization for justice for Dan Markel. And I'll do a little video of putting the donation in, so everybody knows that it's going to the right place. So dig deep, friends, so we can give something back to the community, give something back to Justice for Dan Markel. If anyone knows of an organization or is familiar with this group, Justice for Dan Incorporated, let us know in the comments. Or if anyone knows a more appropriate facility to give a donation to the cause, let us know in the comments. And yeah, please, super stickers, super likes, super thanks, whatever. Anything on tonight's show goes to Justice for Dan donation. Okay, good. So next, I thought it might be fun to have a look at the first opening statement by Georgia Kappelman, right? To sort of reset the scene, you know. And then we're going to be having a look at all the verdicts to date. Sigfredo, Katie, Charlie. And see how they react. You know, see how these crocodile tears flow. Opening statement.
The evidence in this case will show that at 11 a.m. on July 18, 2014, Jim Geiger is with his wife and grandchildren at his home on Trescott Drive when he hears a noise that sounds like a gunshot. He goes to a large bay window at the front of his residence and looks outside toward his neighbor's house. And he observes...
Thanks, Neverly, helping the cause, Justice for Dan Markel. We're going to collect all the numbers, and I'll make a post on YouTube with the final count, and then put a video up of that amount being donated to the Justice for Dan cause. Okay, thanks a lot, guys, and everyone else. Dig deep, friends.
Observes what appears to be a light-colored Prius or Prius-type vehicle back quickly out of his neighbor's driveway and take off toward Benton Road. Concerned, Mr. Geiger walks out his front door and walks in the direction of his neighbor's residence. His neighbor is Dan Markel. Seeing that Mr. Markel's vehicle is running in the garage, he's thinking, well, maybe Mr. Markel's about to back out. So he kind of goes back to his house, but he kind of keeps an eye on the driveway. When Mr. Markel does not back out after a couple moments, Mr. Geiger goes over to do some further investigation. And that is when he sees a terrible sight. His neighbor, Dan Markel, behind the wheel with a terrible wound to his head. There is shattered glass everywhere. Mr. Markel is seated in the driver's seat. He's alive, he's moving, he's still groaning, but he's not able to talk. He's not responsive, and he's obviously in distress. Mr. Geiger, seeing this, runs home for his phone and calls 911. That call came in at 11:01 a.m. in broad daylight. First responders arrived to find 41-year-old Dan Markel unresponsive. He's taken to the hospital where he survives for some time, I think about 14 hours before he is officially pronounced deceased. Dan Markel, father of 2 young boys and highly respected attorney at law and professor at the Florida State University College of Law, was shot twice in the head in his own garage in broad daylight. Who would do such a thing? Nothing seems to...
Well, thanks, Albert, for letting us know that Tamara Dempko is in the leadership group for this this organization, this Justice for Dan organization. Okay, so that'll be the right place to send our collected donations at the end of the show, guys. Okay, brilliant.
To be missing from the crime scene. There's no sign of a forced entry or a robbery attempt. How do you begin to investigate a case like this? What clues did the killers leave behind? Well, thanks to our 911 caller, we know that the suspect vehicle is a light-colored Prius. And there's a second 911 call as well. You'll learn that Mr. Markel was on the phone at the time he was murdered, and the person that he was on the phone with heard Markel say, "Hold on a moment, there's someone in my driveway I don't recognize." Then the line went dead and the man was unable to reach Mr. Markel again, so he called 911. So we learned from that the person that murdered Mr. Markel was a stranger to him. It was someone he did not recognize.
Don't you just love these little bits of unforeseeable evidence that just, you know, kind of lucky, right? First of all, Jim Geiger heard the shots, right? He went round to inspect. You know, he saw the car in the driveway in the garage with the engine running. He thought, oh, okay, well, he must be backing out, but then went back to his house and then saw that Dan Markel didn't back out, you know, and subconsciously his brain just picked up on something wrong. He probably, you know, the part of his brain that isn't the conscious part probably saw the broken glass, but he didn't realize, but he knew something was wrong, and he somehow felt the need to go back and check, right? Some might call him a nosy neighbor, but he knew, you know, imagine if he hadn't been home or hadn't heard the shots. Dan would have been just sitting there for hours. And then Dan was on the phone with someone and said, hang on, there's someone in my driveway I don't recognize. And he called the police. And because there was someone he didn't recognize, they know that the killer was unknown to Dan. I mean, you can't put that in your little plan, can you, Charlie and Wendy and Donna? Didn't count on those unforeseen circumstances, did you, guys? And then the friggin' Prius is super identifiable with a broken toe cap, an aftermarket wing mirror, a sun pass. It's on every frickin' bus camera in Tallahassee. It's at the gym. It's at Premier Fitness. Watching Markel and slowly following him. Isn't the speed that they follow him? I mean, to me, it just looks really obvious. It looks like a stalking vehicle. It's almost like a nature show when you see a cheetah in the long grass waiting for the antelope to run. You know what I mean? Hunted. He's being hunted.
An inquiry into Dan Markel's movements that morning.
And thank you, Leah, for the super sticker straight to the fund. Thank you very much.
Revealed that he dropped his two young sons off at daycare.
And you, Rabbit. Well done.
At about 8:50 a.m. Then went to work out at Premier Gym and then was killed shortly upon his return home from the gym. Law enforcement obtained surveillance from the gym and later surveillance from a city bus. So there are cameras mounted to city buses, and they got surveillance from the city buses along the route that they think this Prius might have traveled, along the route that they think.
Hey, Kim, how you doing? You said something about Roberta Glass's podcast tonight. What was that like? You didn't like it, huh? Why? I'll have to go back and watch that later. You know, I've been clashing with Roberta time slot wise quite a lot recently. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. You know, she's got a pretty healthy size audience. And, you know, we seem to be just on at the same time recently, which is a shame. But glad you're here, Kim, in the right place. But I'd be interested to know what you didn't like about Roberta Glass's podcast tonight. Let us know in the comments.
Mr. Markel would have traveled between the gym and his residence. And they discover something ominous on this surveillance footage. A light-colored Prius, which they deduced from this surveillance was silver pine mica, that's the exact color, which appears to follow Dan Markel into the gym parking lot at 9:11 a.m. on the morning of his death. The Prius waits in the parking lot for Mr. Markel to work out, which is approximately an hour. And then the Prius follows Mr. Markel out of the parking lot at about 10:38 a.m. The Prius was also observed on a surveillance camera from the city bus, which narrows the time of Mr. Markel's death even further, because we see that Prius on a bus both minutes before, and then moments after the murder as well, fleeing at a high rate of speed north on Thomasville Road towards the interstate. And you will observe these surveillance videos and learn a few things from these images that were captured about our suspect vehicle. You'll learn the exact color of the Prius, silver pine mica, the approximate year of the vehicle, the fact that the vehicle had a black aftermarket side mirror attached to it, a missing tow hook cover, which is just a little round circle on the front bumper of the vehicle, and a SunPass transponder mounted to the front of the windshield.
I would just love for Georgia Kappelman to explain anything to me. She could tell me how to make oatmeal, and I'd be listening with my notepad, taking notes. She'd be like, you put the oats into a pan, you add a little milk and water. You turn the heat to medium, stirring occasionally until it thickens. Add a little brown sugar and cinnamon and pour into your bowl.
Also, in one of the images from the city bus captured after the murder, you will see the presence of what appears to be a driver in a dark colored shirt and a passenger in a light colored shirt. That becomes important because later, when we have two suspects develop, we find an ATM video that shows in Pembroke Pines, Florida, on the same day of the murder, a silver pine mica Prius at an ATM with our two suspects pictured inside, and you'll see those images as well. So meanwhile, law enforcement's gathering these surveillance images, trying to get information about the suspects and the vehicle that might be involved in this murder. While they're doing that, they're simultaneously trying to learn more about Dan Markel's life.
Yeah, Udi, I like Roberta for the most part. She's very good at what she does. She has interesting guests, good comments. She gets a little bit repetitive with the playback of the videos sometimes, but yeah, I really enjoy her stuff. I haven't had much time to watch it recently, but a few months ago I was watching it all the time, and it was great. Yeah. Neverly, darling, check this out, guys. 4-letter word beginning with C. That's my favorite word to use whenever I'm describing Wendy Adelson. But I don't know if I should read it out on the channel, Neverly. We might get demonetized.
Who is close to him? Who might have a motive to want him dead? Law enforcement meets with Markel's ex-wife, Wendy Adelson, whereby they learn that she has been embroiled in a very...
Just to answer you, though, Neverly, I don't think it was Wendy that started the GoFundMe, but she contacted GoFundMe and tried to claim the money that had been raised, appealing as the grieving widow, right? So someone else set up a GoFundMe to pay for the funeral expenses or something, and Wendy contacted the organization GoFundMe and said, yeah, you can just send that money to me because I'm the grieving widow and I'll take care of it. Unbelievable. Every penny.
Contentious divorce and continued litigation with Mr.
But I don't think she got it, though.
Markel regarding the enforcement of the divorce settlement agreement and specifically the custody of their two boys. Pleadings from the divorce indicate that Wendy Adelson had made efforts to relocate to South Florida. She'd actually moved to South Florida with the kids, and a court ordered her on June 20.
Yeah, Charlie probably is thinking about this 10-year anniversary, but not in the context of, oh, I did such a horrible thing. He's thinking if he doesn't get stabbed to death by a Latin king or anybody else, and just lives until he dies of natural causes, which is probably unlikely. But if he does, he'll probably have to do 30 years. You know, in 30 years, he'll be, what, 78? Almost. About the same age as Phil Markel in that video, huh? Yes. Long time, isn't it, Charlie? Long time to not go outside or ride a jet ski or fuck a woman or, you know, eat anything good ever. Enjoy it, Charlie. That's what you get. And Georgia sent you there. So lap it up.
2013, that she had to come back to Tallahassee. She couldn't leave with Mr. Markel's children. Emails between Wendy Adelson and her mother, Donna Adelson, that occur around the time of this litigation, about 1 year before the murder, indicate that Donna Adelson despised Dan Markel and was desperate to find a way for Wendy and these two kids to move down to where she was located in South Florida. Donna Adelson in these emails refers to Dan Markel as a religious zealot, a bastard. She says, let's show this F blank, 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 what will make him absolutely miserable, and proposes a plan of action for how to threaten and or bully and or bribe Dan Markel into allowing Wendy to move to South Florida with the children. These plans included converting the children to Catholicism, even though the entire family was Jewish. All the Adelsons were Jewish as well. But this suggestion was a way to gain leverage against Mr. Markel because Dan Markel was very observant in his faith, and it was very important to him that his children be raised in an environment that observed and was committed to the Jewish faith. The divorce between Wendy and Dan Markel was final back on July 31st of 2013.
Welcome, T. Cancella. Good to see you. Yeah, we've all been following this case for years. We're a pretty new channel, so it's not surprising you haven't seen us before, but welcome to the show. We've got a great community here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, dig deep, and give to the channel, because tonight we're giving every last penny to the, what was it? Justice for Dan Foundation, run by Tamara Dempko and others that are promoting Justice for Dan and starting, what is that they're doing, guys? Starting scholarships or something? Yeah, well, it's all fantastic work. Here they are. Well, you know, it's just justicefordan.com. Yeah, every donation that comes into the channel tonight, guys, will be going straight to justicefordan.com and Tamara Dempko. I'm going to be writing to them after the show, and I had a look on their website to see if there's a thing where we can just donate on the website, but it doesn't look like there is. So I'm going to write to, maybe we'll be starting a little correspondence with Tamara Dempko herself. You never know, guys. That'll be fun, won't it? Plus, I love her.
13, but as I mentioned, the litigation continued as both sides filed pleadings back and forth in reference to alleged violations of the divorce agreement, in reference to child custody, and specifically one of the last pleadings filed prior to Dan Markel's murder is in reference to Wendy Adelson's mother, his mother-in-law, Donna Adelson. And in this pleading, he alleged that the children's grandmother, Donna Adelson, was disparaging him to the kids. And he was petitioning the court to order that Donna Adelson not be allowed to have unsupervised contact with his children, her grandchildren. A ruling was never made on that motion because Dan...
Just on that subject, folks, the pleading where Dan Markel was alleging that Donna Adelson, the maternal grandmother of his sons, was being disparaging towards him. We did there's a video on our channel page. Which one is it? It's, yeah, this is our channel page to everyone new in the chat. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Loads of content to watch there, huh? Yeah, it's this one, Another Witness, with Stephen Webster, the lawyer of Dan Markel, who had some specific inside interesting knowledge about this disparaging comment. You know, Grandma says you're stupid and all that stuff, right? Very interesting witness. And we also covered Ryan Fitzpatrick and a little bit of Jeffrey Lacasse in that video too. So be sure to check this one out, guys. Another witness on our channel page at True Crime Metrics.
Markel was murdered before the hearing was conducted. Wendy Adelson was interviewed, as I mentioned, and she will tell you that she sure hopes someone didn't do this on her behalf. She will tell you that her brother, Charlie Adelson, who also lives in South Florida with her mother, not with, but in the same area as her mother, Donna Adelson, and her father, Harvey Adelson. She'll tell you that Charlie, quote, looked into hiring a hitman, but decided buying her a TV as a divorce present would be cheaper. And what was her alibi for the murder? Where was she when Dan Markel was killed? She has a witness who was present at her home, a repairman who was fixing that very TV, an appointment that was set up by her mother, Donna Adelson. So Wendy's brother, Charlie Adelson, has made references to hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel, and now hitmen have murdered Dan Markel. Meanwhile, law enforcement is still putting together more information.
You know, this thing with the TV alibi, which we all are intimately familiar with, you know, the TV that Charlie bought for Wendy as a divorce present, and how he joked he was going to get her a hitman, but a TV set was cheaper. Ah, ha, 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 ha. So funny, Charlie. Why would you repeat that joke over and over again? It's not even funny. It's lame. Anyway, why would that be your alibi, other than the kind of poeticness of it? They really like these in jokes, don't they? Bullet, bourbon, TV, divorce present, paella. You know, that if that's your pattern within your planning, that's exactly what's going to get you caught again and again and again. I think there's more to come. I think there's another, you know, ridiculous bit of poetry planning that they do. But think of all of the other alibis. She could have just gone to work. You know, she has a job. She needed an alibi for when Dan was killed. So go to work, or go to Miami, or go to Tennessee. It worked for Jeff. He was on video in Kmart using a cell phone and paying with his credit card in Tennessee at the time of the murder. Cleared. You know, no poetry to it. It was where I was. Why couldn't you just go to work? It's ridiculous. And then you get, you know, Jeff noticed the what did he call it? The crater in the TV, and said that it obviously looked like some adult had hit it with something heavy, and that there's no way that Ben or Lincoln at 3 and 4 years old could pick up an object heavy enough, let alone throw it at the TV mounted high on the wall, it with enough force to shatter it. Thereby, it was done by an adult intentionally, right? And then you get a repairman to come out and do what? It wasn't even an expensive TV. Okay, if it's like an 80-inch plasma TV, maybe you want to get it repaired. I mean, if it's that expensive, you'd probably have insurance and just have the insurance company send you a new one, right? This repairman comes out. Someone said in the comments on a previous show, like it's 1980, you know, little toolkit, gets out of his little van, opens up the back of the TV. It doesn't work like that anymore. You just get a new one, right? It's just the weirdest alibi. And it's like, why would you pick that as your alibi when there are so many other options? You could have just gone to a mall where you're on video. Is it just that they had to have this kind of poetic thing going on? Yes, we'll use the TV. This TV is going to be about 5. What is that? It's ridiculous. And it got them caught. Well, it was one of the things that made it so easily digestible to the jury, right? It wasn't the thing that got them caught, but it's the sort of information that when read out to the jury, like Georgia Kappelman's doing here, or when using it to question witnesses like Wendy, right? The jury are just shaking their heads going, these guys are full of shit, right? Why would you do that? I don't get it.
About the Prius and the killers. They have gotten a search warrant for all the phone numbers that interacted with the cell tower, consistent with people being in the area of Premier Gym at the time that we know they were there. So literally every cell phone that interacted with those towers during that hour period of time. And they cross-referenced all of that data with Mr. Markel and his in-laws. So basically have any of the phone numbers that appear on that tower around the time that we know the suspects were at the gym been in contact recently with Dan Markel or with his in-laws or with his ex-wife. The purpose of that was to try to see if there was any link there. And coming,
I know, Amy, right? It's like no one is going to laugh at that. Yeah, I was going to get her a hitman, but a TV was cheaper. No one's going to laugh out loud to that. They might grin nervously, but he just repeated this and repeated this and repeated this to lots of people. And it's not just one person saying that. We've got Katie, we've got Jeff, we've got Wendy. Wendy's now repeating it to the friggin' repairman. Oh yeah, the TV, my brother got it for me. He said he was gonna get me a hitman, but a TV set was cheaper. And then it's the first thing Wendy says in the interrogation room. It's ridiculous. It is the stupidest shit of this whole plan, I think. And there's a lot of stupid shit.
Coming through all this data and putting it all together was a very tedious task, but they did find one number with a South Florida exchange, which was present both in the area of Premier Gym at the time that the killers were there, and was linked to a single phone call on July 1st, 2014, so about 17 days before the murder. This number that was at Premier Gym from South Florida contacted Harvey Adelson, so the father-in-law of the deceased, husband of Donna Adelson, father of Wendy Adelson. And that number that contacted Harvey Adelson and that was also present at the gym on our date in question belonged to Sigfredo Garcia, the defendant in this case, aka Tuto, Tuto. And an examination of Garcia's call logs showed a frequent contact with another number, which also was present on our what we're calling tower dumps. So all those numbers that interacted with that cell phone tower.
I just love the way Georgia Kappelman moves her body, gestures with her hands. She's really, really good at these physical descriptors, you know, to aid the digestion of her speech. It's fantastic what she does. I could watch her all day. I mean, I do. Yeah, she's brilliant. My number one attorney, and there's a lot of them I think are good, but you know, maybe it's because we've seen so much of her. She feels like a part of the family, right?
At Premier at that time. Another number, no connection with the Adelsons that we found, but a frequent caller of Sigfredo Garcia is Luis Rivera. That phone number was also present at Premier at the time that our suspect vehicle was there. Luis Rivera's AKA is Tato. So we've got Tudo and Tato. So why would these two guys, Tudo and Tato, with no apparent ties to Tallahassee, be all the way up here from Miami, hanging around the gym at the same time that our suspect Prius was there? Possibly because they're our suspects. They're the ones inside the Prius. So now that we have these suspect phone numbers, we subpoena all the location information from the cell phone providers to show information about Rivera and Garcia's phones. Where were they during the time leading up to the homicide?
By the way, guys, Amy just said in the chat, Metrics, write a letter to Wendy when she's in jail to ask her why she picked the TV. Yeah, that reminds me of a question I have, Amy. Does anybody know where we can get a copy of Wendy Adelson's handwriting? I haven't looked online. Maybe it's available online. But if anyone has seen it and has a resource, let us know, because I'd love to have a look and see if there's anything indicative in her handwriting of psychopathic tendencies. You know, big loops, letters that aren't quite touching the line, all that stuff. That's quite interesting stuff sometimes. Wendy Adelson handwriting analysis. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Video coming out.
After the homicide and at the time of the homicide. And what it shows, which you'll get detailed testimony about in the form of digital evidence, is that Rivera and Garcia's phones leave Miami on July 16th, 2014. You'll see their movements up from Miami to Tallahassee.
Remember, guys, all donations to the channel tonight are going to the Justice for Dan, what is it called? The Justice for Dan Foundation, okay? Run by Tamara Dempko, legend Tamara Dempko, and others that are promoting justice for Dan and doing all sorts of stuff in the legal community to help the cause and the quest for justice for Dan Markel, among other things in his memory, like scholarships, I believe, different things that Dan would have liked. Okay, Justice for Dan is an organized grassroots effort to advance justice for Dan Markel and his family, memorialize his life and scholarship, and serve as a credible source for case updates and commentary. So all donations collected on our channel tonight are going straight to this organization here. So just so you know, guys, you can leave us a super chat, super thanks, super like, super sticker, whatever you think is best. And yeah, that's what's happening.
Around Tallahassee, including being in the area of Premier Gym. And then you'll see that both phones are consistent with having been turned off around the time that the Prius was at Premier Gym waiting for Dan Markel to come out. And both phones remain inactive until about an hour after the murder, where they pop back up, headed southbound on the interstate toward Miami. As a result of this evidence, Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia were charged with first-degree murder of Dan Markel. The police work that has just taken me a few minutes to summarize took about 2 years to accomplish. By the time Rivera and Garcia were arrested for this murder, Rivera was in custody on an unrelated.
2 years, a full team, you know, of caseworkers were running that case for Tallahassee PD. The FBI were involved, 2 years, folks. That's a good chunk of time. And money, right? I'd love to know what the entire, all the trials, all the police efforts, the investigations, the prosecutions, what is the net figure of the cost to the taxpayer? I mean, who cares, right? Don't even ask. It's already been approved. justice for Dan comes before money. But you know, it must be a big number. It must be like 20 million, something like that, I reckon. What do you think, guys? Have a guess in the comments. See who can guess the amount of money that's been spent on this case.
Federal racketeering charge, which concerned Rivera's affiliation with a criminal street gang. So when we developed these suspects, Rivera's in custody on something else. Ultimately, the state made a deal with Rivera to
Thanks so much, Hildy.
Tell the truth in exchange for a plea to second-degree murder and a 19-year prison sentence to run concurrent or at the same time as his federal sentence. Rivera will tell you that.
Oh, fantastic. I must have missed that one, Leah. Riding Shotgun posted a pic of Wendy's handwriting on Discord General. Nice, nice, nice.
He was hired by his lifelong friend, Sigfredo Garcia, who was hired by his longtime girlfriend and children's mother, Katherine Magbanua, aka Katie, to come to Tallahassee and to kill Dan Markel. Magbanua had an on-again, off-again relationship with Mr. Garcia, and during one of the off-again periods, you will learn prior to the murder, during one of these off-again periods with Mr. Garcia, she was seeing somebody else, a wealthy dentist by the name of Charlie Adelson. Charlie Adelson had a sister in Tallahassee, Wendy Adelson, and Wendy Adelson had a problem, and her problem was named Dan Markel. And the solution to that problem was Magbanua, Rivera, and Garcia. Garcia told Rivera that Katherine Magbanua had gotten them a job, and it was a big one. It was going to pay a lot of money. The job was in Tallahassee. Rivera and Garcia made, you'll learn, not one, but 2 trips to Tallahassee. The first trip was about 6 weeks prior to Markel's death, and it was intended to be a murder trip, but it ended up being more of a scouting trip. The murder did not occur. Garcia told Rivera on the way to Tallahassee on that first trip that they were coming up here to do a murder. Garcia showed Mr. Rivera a photograph of who they were coming to kill. He had a piece of paper with a picture of Dan Markel on it and some typed words underneath. He indicated to Rivera that they needed to kill this guy so that his wife could get their kids, and that they were going to be paid $100,000 for the job, with Rivera's cut being $35,000. Rivera bought a gun off the street, and Garcia rented a car for this June trip. Rivera asked Garcia, and this is the first trip, Rivera asked Garcia who knew that he was going along, who knew he was involved. And Garcia assured him that only Katie knew, Katherine Magbanua. On the way, Garcia showed Rivera the piece of paper, and Rivera also overheard several phone calls between Garcia and Magbanua during this first trip, which included Magbanua instructing Garcia about what they needed to do, including things like, make sure you do everything right. Don't do it.
Hi, Albert. This is an opening statement from the joint trial of Sigfredo and Katie. It's not a closing, and it's from Katie 1 alongside Sigfredo.
Anything stupid. When you are done, call me. Garcia and Rivera got a hotel room here in Tallahassee on this first trip. They did some scouting around the Markel residence, but couldn't get the job done, and ultimately headed back to Miami. 6 weeks later, the two returned to Tallahassee in the green Prius rented by Luis Rivera in Miami, Florida. They brought the same gun that was present on the first trip, the one that Luis Rivera bought off the street, and that ultimately becomes the murder weapon. On this trip, they spend 2 nights in Tallahassee, again, scouting around the Markel residence, attempting to follow Mr. Markel, and you'll hear Katherine Magbanua previously instructed them not to do anything stupid. And her reasoning for that will be evidenced by some of the activity that they get up to when they're here. For example, Garcia accidentally shot a hole in the floorboard on the passenger side of the Prius with the murder weapon prior to the murder, which resulted in them severing the gas line and rendering the vehicle inoperable. Then they had to get a ride to the store to buy some supplies to fix the thing and fix the thing on the side of the road. So you'll hear a little bit about that. Then the night before the murder, Rivera will tell you that he took a picture of an owl and posted it on Instagram, which, as y'all may know, indicates where you are when you post something. And he'll tell you that Katherine Magbanua immediately called Garcia to tell Rivera how stupid he was and to take the picture down because nobody could know where he was. Again, Rivera overhears conversation during the second trip between Garcia and Magbanua. Katherine Magbanua indicates that they have to get this job.
Yeah, Christina, how long can you hold a grudge, okay? No one was trying to offend you. I certainly wasn't. You know, come back. We really enjoy your comments. I sense a real kindred spirit with you, Christina. Your humor, your kind of dark, little bit, you know, I see myself in you, Christina. Come back. We really miss your comments, and we can't wait to have you back.
Job done because the professor is planning to leave town in the near future. So on July 18th, 2014, Rivera and Garcia follow Professor Markel to the daycare where he drops off his kids at approximately 8:50 in the morning. Then they go to the gym where they wait in the parking lot while Mr. Markel works out. And then they go to his home where Rivera pulls the Prius into the driveway close up to the bumper of Mr. Markel where he's parked in his driveway. You'll hear that Garcia gets out and approaches Markel with the revolver purchased on the street by Luis Rivera, and that that Garcia shoots Mr. Markel twice through the driver's window before hopping back into the Prius. Rivera backs out of the driveway and they head back to Miami. I mentioned earlier that both men had their phones off and that once they turn their phones back on, the very first call that either of them make after the homicide is Mr. Garcia to Katherine Magbanua. And what does he say? He says, "The job is done." And what does she reply? She says, "I know." There's a brief discussion about when they'll get their money. And Katherine Magbanua says, "Don't worry about the money. I will get the money. You'll get it tomorrow." Then the next day, Rivera was at the barber shop when he talked to Katherine Magbanua. She advised that she had the money and was looking for Garcia to pay up, but wasn't able to find Garcia. Rivera knew where to look for Garcia at another young lady's residence. Rivera successfully rounds up Garcia and they all meet at Rivera's house where Rivera gets his payment. So Rivera, Garcia, and Magbanua are all present. Rivera gets his money, $35,000, stapled into packs of $1,000 apiece. Garcia also gave Rivera a little extra money later that night while they're out celebrating. In the weeks and months after the homicide, Rivera and Garcia each bought a motorcycle. Garcia also bought a car. Katherine Magbanua also got a car, a black Lexus, whose previous owner happens to be Harvey Adelson. Magbanua was also put on the payroll at the Adelson's dental practice shortly after the homicide and began receiving regular checks for approximately 2 years, although law enforcement has yet to determine what, if anything, what if any service she provides to that dental office. And the folks that work there don't seem to know either. She got a breast augmentation surgery shortly after the homicide. She had trips paid for by Charlie Adelson after the homicide that didn't even include him. And she deposited large amounts of cash into her bank account around the time of the murder, sometimes multiple deposits at different banks in the same day. So in an effort to ferret out who are all of the members of this conspiracy, and to prove how information flowed, how was the conspiracy structured. We, on April 19th, 2016, so almost 2 years after the murder, law enforcement conducts an undercover operation. They got court authorization to go up on a wire, what's called a wire, on Katherine Magbanua's phone, and also Charlie Adelson's phone, which means they could listen in real time to what was being said on these phones. That's, despite some popular belief, not something the government normally can do without special authorization. In this case, that authorization was put in place, and law enforcement was prepared to listen to both Katherine Magbanua's calls and Charlie Adelson's calls. They then sent an undercover agent posing as someone who basically was on behalf of Rivera to walk up to Donna Adelson on the street and basically try to extort money out of her. This undercover officer handed Donna Adelson a piece of paper. And on the paper is a story about the death of Dan Markel. It includes a photograph of Dan Markel, and written on the page is a phone number and the amount $5,000. And the undercover agent, I'm summarizing, tells Donna Adelson, basically, my buddy Rivera, he didn't say the word Rivera, but my buddy's sitting in jail, and you're out here taking care of Katie and Tudo. So basically, he's asking for $5,000 for Rivera to even things out. So now law enforcement starts listening to the calls. Like, you know, we do this little thing, it's 2 years after the murder, we do this undercover operation to try to generate some chatter and see who will say what to whom. And you'll get an opportunity to hear some of those phone calls that result from this undercover operation. That phone number, the undercover agent's phone number that's written on that piece of paper that's handed to Donna Adelson, you're going to see that it travels from Donna to Charlie to Katie and then to Sigfredo. You will hear and see evidence of these calls, and you can make of them what you will. But in conclusion, I believe that you will be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that the state is not pulling a fast one on you, but rather that Katherine Magbanua was hired to solicit Garcia, who in turn solicited Rivera to come to Tallahassee and to execute Mr. Markel in cold blood. At the conclusion of the evidence, I will ask you to return a verdict of guilty as charged for both defendants. Thank you.
Mr. Sanguinet.
Well, that was just absolutely masterful, you know, and she gets better every year, right, guys? What have we got now, guys? Welcome to everyone new in the chat. Just to let you know, guys, all donations to the channel tonight will be going straight to the Justice for Dan Foundation, run by Tamara Demko, doing all sorts of wonderful things in the legal world to help the cause for justice for Dan and other things in the legal community that Dan Markel would have liked. So let's show some support for that foundation, run by Tamara Demko and others. Okay, guys, and now I thought we might have a look at the verdicts that we've had to date over the last 10 years, or over the last 5, but, you know, we didn't get going until 2019 with the trials. So who's first? Sigfredo. This is a little cringe, okay? And certainly Katie is a lot more upset than Sigfredo seems to be. I think Sigfredo was pretty, you know, I think he might have seen this coming. Yeah, guilty. Life plus 30 years. Thank you. Next. Of course, Katie Magbanua got a hung jury in the same trial, had to go on for trial number 2. But that's okay. Have 3 if you like, Katie. We got all damn day. If we get to see Georgia more, that's all right by me. And Sarah, of course. Man, Sarah did really good job at the cross-examination in Katie's second trial, didn't she? How punchy was that? Yeah, but y'all were broken up. Love it. We're gonna be probably this weekend, guys. We're getting back onto the Katherine Magbanua series. Going to finish that off before we go on to General Isom's testimony on stand in her trial. The reason we want to get through Katie's testimonies beforehand is because most of what General Isom is going to say on the stand is in relation to Katie, in relation to her jobs, her fake paychecks, you know, what she was doing at the clubs, what she was doing at the Adelson Institute, and so on. But it's a very, very good time on the stand from General Isom, and he puts to rest all our fears that he's a bumbling idiot, because he carries himself really solid on the stand. Very shrewd, the silver fox. Yeah, so make sure everyone subscribes to the channel, and while you're waiting for that to come out, guys, maybe you ought to all check out the other content that we have on our channel page. So much content, so much colorful content. Look at all that. Not just the Adelson case, folks. We've got other cases as well on our channel page. Just so many videos now. You know, you do a little bit each day and it builds up quick, doesn't it? Lots of long form, legal, true crime content. Who could ask for more? Subscribe to the channel and enjoy yourselves. Have a great weekend watching all this content. You know, all the live chats are on there as well on the replay, so you can follow along. And yeah, fantastic way to spend the day. Anyway, where are we with the next video? Sigfredo's verdict. Here we go.
Court back in session. Be seated, please. Did a note from the jury.
Oh, I forgot to say, leave a like on the video, guys. Share, leave a comment, share on socials. We've got a list to our social networks, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook and Discord in the description for this video, along with a link to buymeacoffee.com if you want to support the channel. That's a great way to do it. And yeah, but be sure to leave a like on the video. We really have been getting the likes at the moment, folks, and it helps us so much with the algorithm. Like.
Assume everybody has a copy of the note. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
For the record, it says the jury has reached a verdict on one.
I always see Adam West, Batman, when I look at this guy, this judge, Judge Henkinson, you know, Batman.
One defendant, all counts, and is hung on the second defendant on all counts. I'll hear from y'all how you wish to proceed. What's the state's position?
We'd be requesting an Allen charge on the second count. I guess there's some question as to whether or not we take the verdict on the first defendant and then give them Allen charge and send it back on the second defendant.
Well, what do you suggest?
We take the verdict on the first defendant, then give them the Allen charge and send it back, sit on the second defendant.
Garcia.
I agree.
Just before we go there, guys, if anyone wants to see Wendy Adelson's handwriting, here it is. And personally, I would have thought it would have been a little bit better than that. I mean, I can't talk. My handwriting's not great either. But, you know, she's a highly educated person. And this doesn't look very neat, right? There's a little mistake down here in the uppercase I. That G is weird. I don't know much about handwriting analysis. There's another little fuck up here on continued. I mean, and the F is not good. But I might have a basic read of if we can pick up anything in handwriting analysis. You know, just see if we can find anything that's interesting, right? Coming up, guys, coming up.
Magbanua.
Yes, Your Honor, I agree too, because we would be requesting the Allen charge if they're hung on the smack battle.
Well, we'll find out, I guess. So, anyway, so everybody's in agreement. I will take the verdict on whichever defendant it is that they have decided. I will excuse that defendant and the attorneys. And you stay if you want, but there's no reason. And then I will give them Allen charge as to the second defendant.
Your Honor, just for the record, with regards to if the defendant that's hung is Mr. Garcia, we would not be requesting Allen charge, just for the record.
I tell you what, I'm gonna change my mind about the one leaving, because depends if it's Mr. Garcia that's been convicted, we still need to talk about, how we're going to proceed next. So anyway, I think they are shackled at this point in time. They'll just.
If it's Mr. Garcia that's been convicted, I'm pretty sure it is, right? How the hell would that work? How would they convict Katie and be hung on Sigfredo? Do they think Katie drove to Tallahassee and put a bullet in Professor Markel's head 10 years ago today? Not likely. It seems pretty clear. The jury come back and say, okay, we've got one conviction and we're hung on the other defendant. Seems pretty clear to everyone in the room that the one that they found guilty will be the guy that shot Professor Markel, Sigfredo.
There is a skirt there. They'll just remain seated when the jury comes in. I'm sorry, let me respond to that. I'm going to decide not now. I'm not going to wait and see who's who as to what I'm going to do, Mr. Singleton. So I don't think you can have it both ways. I'm on. If they're at this point hung on one, whichever one it is, I'm going to give an Allen charge. I'm going to accept the verdict on the other one. All right. Let's have a jury in, please.
Yeah, that's interesting, Albert. Albert says Rivera has been ordered to transport to Leon County Jail September 9th to November 9th, 2024. Wonder if there's a grand jury he'll be testifying to after Donna's trial. Well, that's certainly a bit of a cushion on the back end of the timeline, isn't it? It's like, okay, we need you to testify for a week, but you stay in Leon County for 2 months. Yeah, he'll be doing something. He'll be doing something. And it will be related to this case. He's got no other reason to be in Leon County, is he? He's not doing any other Latin King business in Leon County. Yeah. Someone wants to talk to him some more, I guess.
Jury's in the courtroom.
Everybody be seated, please. And Mr. Russweiss, the notes have been from you.
Yeah, Hildy, like I said, I'm no one to talk, My writing is rough. I write in all uppercase all the time. And I don't join up the letters. We don't really have cursive. Well, you're from Norway. Okay, but yeah. But I would have expected something a little bit more fluid, uniform, flamboyant from educated super magna cum laude Wendy. Okay, that's all I was thinking.
Doing nice. See you with the verdict form in your hand, or you are a foreperson.
Yes, sir.
It's my understanding that you have reached a verdict as to one of the defendants. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you hand that verdict to the bailiff, please, sir? There should be no reaction to the verdict from Anyone in the audience, if you can't abide by that, please step out. State of Florida versus Sigfredo Garcia. We, the jury, find as follows: as to count one, the defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. We, the jury, find...
Okay, Katie starts sobbing now and goes on and on. I mean, she has a full meltdown. You know, this is the last time she will ever look at Sigfredo. Might be able to speak to him on the phone when they both call his mother and speak. Like, I just imagine his mother sitting at home watching TV, holding two phones together, you know, holding two phones up like they're kissing phones, like a puppet show.
And as follows: as to count two, the defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. We, the jury, find as follows: as to count three, the defendant is not guilty. So say we all, this 11th day of October 2019. Mr. Russmeisel, did I accurately reflect the verdict of the jury?
Yes, you did, Your Honor.
All right. Do you wish to have the jury polled? All right. This is a standard procedure. I just need to confirm with each of you that what I've just announced is your individual verdict as well as the verdict of the jury as a whole. We'll do it by number. I'm going to start with number one. Is this your verdict as well as the verdict of the jury as a whole as to Mr. Garcia?
Yes, sir.
Number two juror?
Yes.
Number three juror?
Yes, sir.
Number four juror?
Yes.
Number five juror?
Yes.
Number six juror? Number seven juror?
Yes, sir.
Number eight juror? Number nine juror?
Yes.
Number 10?
Yes.
Number 11 juror?
Yes.
Number 12 juror?
Yes.
All right, the jury is unanimously confirmed the verdict. It will be filed. As to Ms. Magbanua that's left, I'm going to give you an instruction on law. I would ask that you listen to my instruction as to that. I know that all of you have worked hard to try to find a verdict in this case. It apparently has been impossible for you so far as to Ms. Magbanua. Sometimes an early vote before discussion can make it hard to reach an agreement about the case later. The vote, not the discussion, might make it hard to see all sides of the case. We are all aware that it is legally permissible for a jury to disagree. There are two things a jury can lawfully do: agree on a verdict or disagree on what the facts of the case may truly be. There is nothing to disagree about on the law. The law is as I told you. If you have any disagreements about the law, I should clear them up for you now. That should be my problem, not yours. If you disagree over what you believe the evidence showed, then only you can resolve that conflict if it is to be resolved. I only have one request of you. By law, I cannot demand this of you, but I want you to go back into the jury room, then taking turns, tell each of the other jurors about any weakness in your position. You should not interrupt each other or comment on each other's views until each of you has had a chance to talk. After you have done that, if you simply can declare this case mistried, and will discharge you with my sincere appreciation for your services. You may now retire to continue with your deliberation. Everybody be seated, please. From Magbanua, any objection to instruction given?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And from the state?
No, sir.
All right. Garcia, you were going to get me some information on mitigating circumstances.
I emailed it to Ms. Wissinger at
Okay. All right.
like 11 o'clock this morning.
She just hadn't let me know that. We'll double check on that.
I can show it.
I mean, I don't need to see, I need the emails, but anyway, if we don't have it, we'll let you know and work that out. There are probably some legal issues that we need to discuss before we start. So maybe what I'm thinking is we maybe start 10 o'clock on Monday with resolve some legal issues with the understanding we'll start with the jury at 1 o'clock. That work for y'all?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Scrubb?
Yes, Your Honor. I will let the court know, and I haven't had time to confirm the time, but I gave them some idea. Dr. Pritchard, the state's mental health expert, will do the interview of an evaluation of Mr. Garcia around 1 o'clock at the jail. I know defense counsel has the right to be present.
1 o'clock when?
Sunday.
Okay. All right. Okay. I guess y'all are here for the duration anyway. So anyway, any issues on any of that? All right. So that's how we'll proceed unless the juror tells us that 1 o'clock isn't going to work. But it seemed to me, we had asked how long it would take. She said about half an hour. I think her appointment is at 11. So anyway, that should work. All right. Mr. Garcia is remanded to custody pending sentencing in this matter. We'll start sentencing Monday morning at 10 o'clock. As to Magbanua, we'll wait to hear further from the jury. All right, so Mr. Garcia can be excused. There's no reason to have him.
Yeah, you can be excused, Mr. Garcia, forever. Okay, you're done, Mr. Garcia. What a green. You see, no one could pull off that jacket but Georgia. What kind of green is that? It's not lime. What kind of green is that? Anybody know what color green that is? In the comments, guys. Neon, isn't it? I bet it glows in the dark as well, like the glow of justice. Now I'll go with apple. Anne-Marie Cat Lady's got it, I think. Key lime, yeah, that's a good one, like Jello. What is this? Albert's got to be fancy. Chartreuse. Haven't heard of that. The only thing Georgia is envious about is, well, what would she be envious about? Nothing.
You can excuse us? Yes.
Chartreuse is kind of like absinthe, is it? Hey, Jim Glathar, I don't care what she is. That jacket is fantastic, and we can all agree on that. You know, she has the best wardrobe that there is. And, you know, there's going to be lots more comments on Georgia's attire. So if that's not your bag, that's not your bag. But that's what we do here, man. Yeah, Neverly, I have to fight to not feel something. You know, she did a shitty thing, but she is really upset. You know, she's genuinely upset, you know. And yeah, the father of her kids, the kind of main love in her life, has just been cuffed and walked out of the room, and she's never going to see him again. The kids are never going to see him again, and that's that. And you could say, yeah, but no one will ever see Dan Markel again, and she was instrumental in that action. And you'd be right, absolutely. Like I said, she did a shitty thing, but she's still a human being, and she's still upset. And I really don't think that she really knew what she was doing. Yeah, she knew what she was doing, but, you know, Charlie probably really bigged it up about how he was abusive and how he was mean and unreasonable and all this shit, right? So it's a strange one. It's a strange one.
Yes, I am. I'm on it now.
Okay, so now we got Katie's sentencing. No, verdict.
All right. It's my understanding that the jury has reached a verdict. Anything before we bring the jury in? Ms. Kappelman,
No, Your Honor.
for the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, let's bring the jury in, please.
Justice Lisa? Oh, I think so. Well.
Okay, well, so.
Yeah, you can remain seated. Thank you.
Just a reminder in the chat, guys, to anyone new joining, all donations, super chats, super thanks, super likes, super stickers go to the Justice for Dan, good organization doing good things for the Justice for Dan Markel movement. Any super chats, super stickers, and all the rest of it are collected. And as it's the 10-year anniversary of Dan Markel's murder, I thought it might be a nice gesture for us to contribute some small little gesture of donation to the cause for the justice movement for Dan Markel. So If anyone wants to support that, support us, support them, hit us up with a super chat, super like, super sticker, super thanks. Thank you, guys. I believe Katherine Magbanua is currently housed in the Lowell Correctional Institution for Women in Tampa, Florida.
All right, please be seated.
Nice pickup on that, Albert. That Albert says, interesting. Dan's glasses were broken in half at the nose from the bullet, and the judge has the magnetic glasses that connect at the nose. That is weird. Another little interesting. It's a coincidence.
Juror number 4, are you the foreperson? Yes. And has the jury reached a verdict? Yes, sir. If you could please hand the verdict form to the bailiff. Thank you. All right, the verdict appears to be in proper form. I will now read the verdict. In the case of the state of Florida versus Katherine D. Magbanua, case number 2016 CF 3036.
Man, she is hyperventilating. I mean, what a stressful moment, huh?
And 2018 CF 497. We, the jury, find...
It's too bad Dan Markel didn't have any time to hyperventilate before he was shot in the face.
Find as follows as to count 1. A, the defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2. A, the defendant is guilty of...
Man, I thought she was just going to throw up on the defense table like Wendy did at the celebration dinner. That'd be weird. It's a coincidence.
Of conspiracy.
Use your common sense.
To commit first-degree murder. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3. A, the defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. And it is signed and dated by the foreperson. Does either party wish to have the jury polled?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to poll the jury, which means I'm going to go through each of you and ask if this is your true verdict and answer the court yes or no. I will use your numbers that I have for each of you. And so you answer yes or no to the question. And I start with juror number 1. Juror number 1, is this your true verdict? Juror number 2, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 3, is this your true verdict? Juror number 4, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 5, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 6, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 7, is this your true verdict? Juror number 8, is this your true verdict? Yes. Juror number 9, is this your true verdict? Juror number 10, is this your true verdict? Juror number 11, is this your true verdict? Juror number 12, is this your true verdict? Members of the jury, I want to thank you for your time and consideration of this difficult case. You have put in 2 long weeks of hard work. You have been punctual. You have been attentive, extremely attentive. You are a model for this community and a model for this judicial system. And I thank you very much for your service to both of those. I'm going to give you one final instruction, and that's in regards to your rights as a juror. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room.
No, Amy, her lawyers didn't believe her at all. No way.
Except by a court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affair as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak to anyone. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. I can see that you have left your notes in the jury room. As I noted before, they will be collected and destroyed. They won't be viewed by anyone, including the court. I'm going to ask that everyone please remain in the courtroom until after the jurors have been escorted out. Again, thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Yeah, Tara Kawas just grabbed that tissue there, didn't she? For herself.
Of this case and your service to the court and the community. And you are excused. The bailiff will escort you out. Thank you very much. The jury's out of the courtroom. The door is closed. Please be seated. We're still in session. Ms. Magbanua, you have been found guilty of the 3 counts. Count 1 of first-degree murder, count 2 of the conspiracy to commit.
Don't you think Ruth Markel and Phil Markel look really alike? Like, they almost look like twins. I guess when you're married that long. Oh, it's funny.
First-degree murder and count 3 of the solicitation to commit first-degree murder. We are going to set this for sentencing, and Ms. Magbanua is entitled to a pre-sentence investigation. Are you requesting that, Mr. DeCoste?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so she's entitled to that. That will take approximately a month, and lately it's been taking even a little bit longer. So we will have that pre-sentence investigation ordered, and I will have that before the court. So we're going to set sentencing off for approximately 30 days, and then we'll get it scheduled. My assistant will be in touch with both parties, and we'll set for sentencing at that time. All right, Ms. Kappelman, anything else for the court?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll be in recess then until sentencing. Thank you.
Man, I wish I had a hug from Georgia Kappelman. How great would that be?
Madam Clerk?
You know, we got it done. We got it done. Yeah, Mrs. D. Love Christopher DeCoste. Miss Adelson. This is all about you, isn't it? This There's 100 people in this courtroom, possibly millions watching. And it's all because of your bad marriage, isn't it? Oh, it's so funny. I called to be a witness and I'm testifying, so I guess I don't understand the question. Is there a question? Ugh! Snap her neck. Snap her neck. Anybody want to have a look at Katherine Magbanua's meet an inmate profile? Here we go. So we got a before and after shot right here. The picture on the left, it looks like she might be holding an Uzi below her breastises there. You know, ghetto girl. Thug life. So what do we say? Hey, y'all. My name is Katherine, but everyone calls me Special K, or K for short in here. I'm originally from the Philippines, but grew up in the beautiful city of Miami. I love the beach, a big foodie, and watching movies. Gotta love those action-packed and chick-flicked comedies. It can get very hard in here physically and mentally, so I'm ready for some type of entertainment and lots of laughter. Hit me up if you have something interesting to talk about. Until then, live it up like it's your last. Stay blessed. X's and O's. Date of birth, December 22nd, 1984. So she's 40 this year. Long way to go, Katie, huh? Height, 5'2", education, high school. Well, she did that. She did a degree in UCF. I mean, I think it was just typing, but what was it? It was business administration for medical offices, something like that. Occupation before prison, bartender. Earliest release date, not applicable. Maximum release date, life. Would you like letters from both sexes? Yes. Can you receive email? So does anybody know, can I write to Katherine Magbanua not being a US citizen and not living in the States? Can she write to Portugal from prison? That'd be interesting. Does anybody know if that can be done, or is there a rule that says you have to be from the US or something to write to an inmate? What's next, guys? Charlie's verdict. Look at him.
Everyone but the foreperson can be seated. Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you please could hand the verdict form to the bailiff. The verdict form is in its proper order. Madam Clerk, please publish the verdict.
Little nervous, huh, Charlie? It's okay, Charlie. We've got your cell ready, and we've got a nice gym mat fabric pillow waiting for you, Charlie. And don't worry, you gave your apple away, but you can have another one. when you get back. Your apple is waiting, Charlie.
Circuit Court of the Second Judicial Circuit in and for Leon County, Florida. The state of Florida versus Charles Adelson. Case number 2016 CF 3036B. Verdict. Count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of conspiracy to commit.
Rough, huh? Yeah. And what's this trial run you, Charlie, and your family? About $3 or $4 or $5 million. It was $1 million to Josh Dubin, $1 million to Dan Rashbaum. They also had investigators and other stuff. Millions of dollars, guys. And the jury were in there for like what? I forget, but a very short time. They were back before lunch.
Commit first-degree murder. Count 3. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 3 of the indictment, solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. So say we all this 6th day of November, 2023.
Does the defense wish for the court to poll the jurors?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror Moore, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes.
Juror Brazos, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
It was.
Juror Gardner, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes.
Juror Strong, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes, sir.
Juror Kraft, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror Milne, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes, sir.
Juror Hawley, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes, sir.
Juror Thorne, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes, sir.
Juror Brim, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes, sir.
Juror Williams, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes, sir.
Juror Douglas, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror Platt, was your verdict and the verdict of the jury as a whole just announced?
Yes, Your Honor.
Members of the jury, I'm going to give you one last brief instruction, and from here, you will be discharged from your service. On behalf of the parties, the lawyers, and the people of the state of Florida, I want to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I'm also going to advise you of some special privileges that are enjoyed by jurors. No juror can be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room, except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain a private affair for as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. The lawyers and their representatives are not permitted to initiate any communication with you concerning the trial. However, you may speak to the lawyers or anyone else about the trial if you desire. You also have the right to refuse to speak with anyone. A request may come from those who are simply curious or from those who might seek to find fault with this decision. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. We give you our sincere thanks for the work that you have performed over this 2-week trial. You are discharged. Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, guys, this is Charlie Adelson's latest picture from his South Dakota booking that somebody just commented on. Who was that? Albert. Yeah, he's aged 10 years. He's got a neck beard, looks irritated, and eyes have sunk further into his head. I actually think he looks better like this, though. I think he's going for that kind of, I think they call it prison thug look, right? No one's going to mess with me in here if I've got a neck beard. Yeah, because that'll protect my neck from the razor blades in the shiv. You know. I know, Mrs. D. There's so many voices in this case that I love, that I would just love to hear them say anything. You know, Chief Mac was fantastic. Anything else happening on this? What's going on here? I want to see.
Everyone may be seated. Mr. Adelson, you are going to be remanded pending sentencing at this time. Does the defense wish to have a pre-sentence investigation report prepared as to counts 2 and 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. The court will order that the pre-sentence investigation be prepared by the Department of Corrections. I believe it will take possibly a month. I'm not sure if it will take longer than that. From there, will the parties be prepared to move into sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor. May I have a moment to confer with the family?
If they wish to make any impact statements tonight,
Yes, sir.
go ahead. Tracy, does it mind?
Georgia's tall, isn't she? It's that quarterback blood.
We're not prepared to present victim impact tonight, but as you know, the family members have traveled a great distance, so we're hoping Your Honor will permit them to appear and make those statements by Zoom whenever we're reconvening for sentencing.
That will be permitted. Anyone who wishes to provide testimony for the sentencing portion may do so over Zoom. I believe this does not implicate any right of confrontation unless the defense has something to raise concerning that matter.
No, Your Honor.
Very well. We are in recess at this point. Oh, yes. We are going to wait until the jurors have vacated the courthouse, and from there, everyone will be dismissed.
Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking court's in recess, so we've heard everything that Georgia Kappelman has to say, but you're wrong, because she's going straight out of the courtroom to make a press conference. Check it out.
Somebody's got to ask a question.
How are you feeling, Georgia? This happened.
I'm feeling thrilled. I'm feeling relieved. I'm feeling like a lot of hard work has paid off.
Is this the last prosecution we're going to see in the Dan Markel murder, or will there be others?
I don't know the answer to that question yet. Stay tuned.
I guess
That's it. That's all you guys care about.
No, that's the question everybody has. Is we've asked it after each trial. Who's not?
I love that we get to see this more casual character of Georgia. You know, she's jiving, she's jesting with the press. It's wonderful. What a woman. What a fantastic woman. You know, in every sense, you know, on every level. 5-star woman.
Great job. Revel in this for a few days at least.
What do you think about this element of surprise defense? You know, the shock in the opening.
And because we normally see the side of her face, well, apart from, okay, in Charlie Adelson's testimony, we had a front-on camera shot of Georgia at the podium, but in the past trials, the cameras have been behind her or to the side, and then, you know, her face looks so different on the side than when it's face on for some reason. It's almost like when you see her face front facing, it's like not what you expected when you just saw the side of her face. It's fascinating.
Was that anticipated in any way?
Yes, we did suspect that some version of that could happen. There were some details that we didn't totally anticipate, but wasn't a complete surprise.
The double extortion.
Yeah, well, not the double extortion, but that it could be some form of blackmail. We knew he had to own the peanut, and that there was going to be some version of I had to pay under duress. So not the details of the layered extortion, but some version of it.
You mentioned your closing. You were kind of expressing concern that the jurors could be confused by some of the evidence and some of what the defense was saying. How worried were you when the jury went out that you could end up with a mistrial?
Every time the jury goes out, I'm extremely worried. So I was worried. I mean, it's not that I don't trust these jurors or trust my case or trust the evidence or justice, but you never know what's going to happen. And there was a lot of information that was thrown at them. So I had to just sort of hold my breath until the verdict came out.
I don't know if I'd call that garnet, Mrs. D. I'd say more scarlet.
And how'd you feel when you heard that first guilty?
Oh, there's no way to describe it. Just a relief.
Can you tell us how you felt for the Markel family? You've been dealing with them.
They have been such troopers. They have stuck with me and stuck behind me. They don't always agree with all the decisions that I've made in this case, particularly the timeline of things. So it's been great to have their support and have them stand behind me the whole way. And I'm thrilled that they got justice. Just absolutely thrilled.
What do we think, guys? What color is George's jacket? Maybe it is garnet. It's either garnet or berry. How many reds can there be, huh?
Do they have all the justice they deserve?
Wow.
A variation of the same theme.
I'm a lawyer. Anybody else?
Are you gonna still do the investigatory interviews of Harvey and Donna?
Not pursuant to the.
You see, there's mentor lawyer asking a question. That could be me, guys. In Tallahassee, Leon County Courthouse, we've got to get an immigration lawyer in the chat so I can ask them some questions and come over to fly to Tallahassee. That would be so cool, guys. I don't know if it's realistic that it's going to happen for Donna's trial. That's like practically in a month now, right? 6 weeks. But maybe Wendy's.
The subpoenas that were associated with Mr. Adelson's case. So we'll see going forward whether anything more arises.
Is the investigation still going on?
Yes.
You said one of the things that you said in your closing when you were talking about Katherine Magbanua is like there's essentially that no one feels more strongly about her than the people on our side of the table. What is? I mean, you're putting somebody on there who you put on trial twice, and now saying that everything she said in that other trial was a lie. How is that? So, can you just describe what that's like to have to deal with a witness of that?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't get to pick our witnesses. A lot of times our witnesses are culpable or guilty in the crimes, and we have to own that. We can't hide from it, and that's what I attempted to do with her, was put her on there, have her tell the truth, and own the fact that she told many lies before.
What would your response be to some of the doubt that was cast on this case that the state presented?
Was there? It's a pretty quick verdict.
Rather on the defense's side.
Oh, well, that's their job, and I think they did a fine job. I'm thrilled that justice prevailed and that the jury was able to see the truth through all their good efforts to block it.
Maybe I should actually speak to mentor lawyer about the immigration paperwork. Maybe he could help me out because he knows what it's like to be passionate about this case. Maybe he'd want to help me out. What do you think, guys? Anyone got a contact for mentor lawyer?
Why do you think that it was so important for the defense to preserve the element of surprise, that they gave away the corroboration potentially of Harvey, Donna, and Mr. Mintz?
I think to keep us unprepared, or to hope that we would be less prepared to rebut it.
Did you have to make a lot of changes in your strategy once you heard that opening statement from Mr. Rashbaum?
We made some adjustments. I wouldn't say a lot of big changes. The truth is not going to change, right? I mean, you're going to pull out some additional materials to try to push back against whatever it is they're alleging, but the truth isn't going to change.
Will Katherine Magbanua get some kind of reward or reduced sentence for her cooperation in this case?
That I don't know yet either. That's a conversation I'm going to have with my boss and some other folks on the team, and we'll get back to you on that. All right, speaking now. All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Great job, ladies.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job, Sarah. Good job.
Appreciate it. See you later.
See ya.
Milestone for the Markel family. We are grateful to Jack Campbell, the State Attorney's Office, for his excessive and extremely well-bound leadership. Also, we have to thank Georgia Kaplan, Sarah Dugan, and Jason Newland, and also Eddie Evans, the entire team, and of course, Colleen Potluck as well, and also Pat Sanford from the FBI, TPD, and all of the Tallahassee community and the media that's here today. We really appreciate your support.
Thank you all.
I'm just going to add, this has been a really long ordeal. Can you say his full name for us, please? Shelley Markel, SHELLYMARKEL. I was just going to say that this has been a really long and terrible ordeal for all of us. It's taken a long toll on our lives, and there's a real sense of relief today. And I want to just reiterate all of the thanks to for the support and all the work and all the effort that got into bringing us to this date, to law enforcement and the state's attorney's office, the whole team behind it.
To all of you.
To all of the media that's really helped keep the story alive and brought forth this day, and to the Tallahassee community that's been with us every step of the way. We're really, really grateful. Thank you.
Shelley, do you think that everybody who's responsible for your brother's murder is now behind bars or has been?
I think we're going to leave that question for now and enjoy this feeling of relief and satisfaction of today's results, and really just, feel this moment and with our appreciation.
What a stupid question that was. I would never ask that question. What a ridiculous question. Do you think that everybody that was responsible for your brother's murder is now behind bars? No, you fucking idiot. Now get that microphone out of my house. What do you mean, what's your name and spell your name? Get out of here, Court TV. Where's mentor lawyer? I want a real interview with someone who knows what the hell they're talking about. Or get True Crime Metrics over here. Let me speak to him.
For the teams that got us here today.
Phil, could you just, I was sitting right behind you as the verdict was read, and I saw the emotion in your face. Could you just describe the moment for us?
Unbelievable. Joy, happiness.
Joy and happiness is a funny thing to say, but it's sort of tinged with this feeling of relief.
The relief.
It's relief. It's a long time
It's so long, 9 years, and we got to this point, and it's just a good feeling.
We're thankful. We're thankful to everybody.
Grateful, yeah.
Thank you.
Grateful and appreciative.
I just wonder what you thought as you heard for the first time a member of the Adelson family testifying about what they say actually happened as you were listening to that testimony. What was in your minds?
He deserves a defense, and I think Rashbaum tried hard for him, but the truth is the truth, and that's what came out, and the verdict is guilty.
Can you say, do you feel a certain way about this decision, given it's the first one involving one of the people that set this situation?
I think we want to say we don't want to talk about the future. We want to live in the moment, and thank you for the present. We are really delighted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Rabbit, I know all about that. But the thing is, I was going to fly from.
Thanks for watching Mental Lawyer.
I was going to fly from Toulouse, France to Austin, Texas in 2016. And I filled out my ESTA wrong. And I decided not to get on the plane because I thought I might get unaccepted or something, which can really complicate things if that happens. So I didn't want that to happen. So then I went to the Paris embassy, US embassy in Paris, and they wanted me to do something. So, but that was going to take too long. So I flew to Toronto and then went across into New York at Niagara, and there was an issue there. Again, not a major issue, but it was uncertain. And then they said, "Oh, you should maybe go to the U.S. Embassy in Toronto." And I just never did. I spent like 6 months in Canada, and I just don't know where I'm at with it. And I just don't want to spend money on a ticket, fly over there, and have an issue. So that's why I want to speak to an actual legal person so they can tell me what's up, because all of the information resources online on the visa waiver program and US tourism thing and everything like that, it's not specific enough to give me the confidence I need. So I really need to find like someone who just knows what they're talking about, you know? So if anybody out there knows an immigration lawyer for travel to the US, I don't want to move there. I want to go there for like a week or maybe 2 while the Donna Adelson trial or the Wendy Adelson trial is running. Do some live streams from location and then come back. I'm going to leave my dog in Portugal, so I got to get back. And yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So maybe I'll speak to Mentor Lawyer. Maybe he can point me in the right direction. Or if anyone in the chat knows anything, let me know in the comments, guys. What have we got now? That's all the verdicts, guys. What time are we running? 22 hours, 38 minutes. Wow, that's quite a lengthy one, isn't it? What are these comments? Fly to Mexico and come across the southern border or Texas over the desert. Heck, if you could do that, you could stay permanently and get welfare, housing, food, education, and medical care free. Yeah, I don't need any of that shit. Yeah. Yeah. I just want to see the trial, you know, and walk around Tallahassee. You know, I'd love to go to Voodoo Coffee or Red Eye Coffee, the coffee shops where some of this stuff happened on location. Monroe, I want to go down Monroe, you know, Thomasville Road. That'll be fantastic. You know, my whole life is this case, so I might as well be in Tallahassee. Neverly, darling, going to the American embassy is a nightmare. You know, it's so hostile. It's ridiculous. You know. You know, all I want to do, you know, maybe I'll be able to find this, but I just wondered if anyone in the chat happened to be in the know or knew someone who would be in the know or something like that. But if you don't, that's fine. Yeah, thanks, Albert. Visa. Yeah, we got that. I heard the word. Yeah, MasterCard. American Express. Should we have one more video, guys? Should we do the Tara Kawas interview post conviction? What else is in keeping with this 10-year anniversary? We've kind of tried to do somewhat of a theme tonight, guys, looking at how the process to justice has been going over the past 10 years. We've got 3 convictions. We've done a load of stuff on Donna recently, so we're not going to be looking at her right now. You know, if anyone hasn't seen that video, it's right here on our channel page. Donna Sue, excellent video. One of our best, I think, guys. One of our best. And some people have been commenting on the thumbnails, and I gotta say, I like them. You know, I like them. People seem to like the thumbnails. You know, they started off like this, right? Not that great, and then they got a bit more official looking, and now we're getting like pretty artsy, I'd say, right? I love this one. The whole gang. Look, Rashbaum, Lacasse, Wendy, Kappelman, Judge Everett. Yeah, I really like making the thumbnails. I think I might print some of them off and frame them and put them on the wall. Or is that too self-involved? Yes, this is some art I made. This is my art. So what's another video we could look at, folks?
That's it from Ms. Magbanua. And I appreciate the time, and I also wanted me to thank the court. She didn't get an opportunity to do that at the end of the trial. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kawas. Okay, I did have the score sheet here that I mentioned before, and the lowest permissible sentence on the counts 2 and 3 would be 172.50 months on those. And then the statutory maximum, as we've mentioned, is 30 years. Ms. Kappelman, would you mind going up and can you move that podium because I can't see you behind that at this point. So if you can move it one way or the other so that I can see you sitting at the table. Great, thank you very much. All right. Also, do we, Madam Clerk or Ms. Kappelman, do we know what the credit for time served is at this point?
I have that, yes, sir. I have 2,119 days.
All right, and what the court costs are, Madam Clerk?
That would be $2,625 plus a $100 cost of prosecution.
Okay, and the state's asking that all sentences run consecutive, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, the state's ready to proceed to sentencing in the state of Florida versus Katherine Magbanua, 2016 CF 3036 and 2018 CF 497. Ms. Magbanua is present here in the courtroom along with her counsel. On count 1, which is the count of first-degree murder, you have been found guilty by a jury. You will be adjudicated guilty and you will be sentenced to life in prison with no eligibility for probation or parole. On count 2, which is the conspiracy to commit murder, you have been found guilty by a jury. You will be adjudicated guilty and you will be sentenced to a consecutive sentence of 30 years in the Department of Corrections. On count 3, the solicitation to commit murder, you have been found guilty by a jury of that count. You are adjudicated guilty, and you will be sentenced to a consecutive sentence of 30 years in the Department of Corrections. You have credit for time served of 2,119 days. Your court costs are $2,006.
Yeah, thanks, Albert. I know the thing to do, but I kind of have like special circumstances. That's why I want to explain it to someone who knows like legal systems or whatever, and just have like verification that it's cool, because those guys at passport control, there's no way I'd fly into New York, for example, because they're so heavy up there. But if I flew into Atlanta, that'd probably be okay. But it's going to cost me like 1,000 euros to fly, so I'd be more comfortable doing it if I just knew everything was pre-approved,
$625 and $100 cost of prosecution, and those will be civil judged. You have 30 days to file a notice of appeal, and if you cannot afford counsel, then one would be appointed for you. Ms. Quaz?
Your Honor, at this time, I would ask if the court could, she has previously been found indigent, could appoint the Public Defender's Office for purposes of appeal.
All right, I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office for purposes of appeal. Have we already taken fingerprints with Ms. Magbanua? Okay, so we don't have to do that. And so Ms. Magbanua, you'll be taken back to the jail and then transported to the Department of Corrections to complete your sentence. Okay, anything else for the court, Ms. Kappelman?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Kawas, anything else for the court?
Nothing from the defense. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Good luck to you, ma'am.
All right, Zoom people, I'm signing off.
Oh man, look at the time. It's 3:17 in the morning, guys. That means we're closing the stream down. Okay? That is late. And I'm wide awake. Damn those coffees. Yeah, thanks to everybody in the chat. Really good show tonight, guys, and thanks for all your contributions, and including the financial contributions that are all going straight over to the Justice for Dan Foundation. Okay, all super chats and super stickers straight over to the Justice for Dan Foundation. I'll write to those tomorrow, add up the numbers, and arrange to send them a little, just small token of what we've collected, of the money that we've collected in the chat today. Well, all the money that we've collected in the chat today, but it won't be much. It's probably about maybe $30. But every little counts. What are they going to say? We only want money in thousands, stapled money in thousands. They'll get what they get, okay? But it might be an excuse for me to talk to Tamara Demko, which I would love to do. What's going on in Discord? Something's going on in Discord. Yeah, everyone join the Discord. Link in the description, guys. Link in the description to social networks, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything right there. Yeah, okay. 10 years, guys, 10 long years, and we're still on that road to justice, but we'll get there. George is at the wheel. George is kicking it, switching gears, as Daniel Rashbaum would say, So don't worry. Sit tight. Enjoy the show. Not this show. The legal show. The courtroom show. Donna Adelson. September. Subscribe to the channel. And yeah, beautiful people. Wish you all a good night. Sleep tight. Be kind to each other. don't be an Adelson, and enjoy your time on this earth, like Dan Markel didn't get to do for very long. But that's okay. You know, in some ways, his tragic death has brought all of us together, you know? So let's try and find the positives. Amy, I'm in Portugal, but I'm not Portuguese. I am English, UK. That's my passport. But I live in Portugal. You know, on the immigration thing, that's a thing, you see. I don't have real ties to Portugal or England. You know, all I have is my dog. I don't have a property in my name or anything like that, which is something that they always ask you on immigration because they think everyone wants to come and sneak into America. I don't want to live in America. That'd be a nightmare. I'm quite happy in Portugal. Thank you. Yeah. No, stars and stripes, stars and stripes. Live it up. Okay. See you all soon. We'll be probably back tomorrow with some more Dan Markel case content. Okay. Adelson content. Don't know what it's going to be yet. You'll have to wait and see, but we'll be around. We'll be around. Okay. Signing off. Good night, guys. Bye.